What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 6, Episode 3, Hasta La Vista Baby. So this episode starts off where last week's episode ended, and that's when Letitia and Kiki were having a conversation. They had met up at a gym for kickboxing lessons or something, and so they're having a conversation about their relationship, where they're at now, where the relationship is going, and how they ended up where they're at. So Kiki tells Letitia that the thing that Tisha did to hurt her was that she took her best friend away. And Tisha was like, "Who's your best friend?" And Kiki said, "You, dummy, you." And so Tisha explains that at the time when she had initially distanced herself from Kiki, she said that Kiki was not in a good place back then, and she had to remove herself to protect her own mental health. Tisha had she was the one that ended up taking Kiki to rehab when she saw that Kiki had changed a lot. And I'm assuming they're referring to the time when Kiki had this addiction to pain medicine. And Tisha talks about how Kiki had changed so much and she had become like this really angry person that one time when they were having a disagreement, Tisha was pregnant at the time, Kiki had told her, "F you and that baby." So that just shows like how far Kiki had fallen from who she used to be. So Kiki was also taking Tisha's pain pills after Tisha had a C-section. Now that's a serious addiction, that you're taking medicine away from your cousin who just had a baby, who just had a C-section, and you're taking her pain medication to feed your addiction. Kiki wants to now move forward, but Tisha says that she needs time to regain trust again. Kiki does apologize for speaking bad about her marriage, and she wants to call a truce with Letitia. Letitia says, "Well, okay, I don't know where we're going to go with this. I don't know how I'm going to feel, but, baby steps." So she starts off with inviting Kiki to a get together, like a spa day that she wants to plan for all the women. So the only way to make it good, so in my opinion, I'm wondering if in order to test Kiki's loyalty to her, I'm wondering if Letitia is going to require Kiki to break off her friendship and her association with Melody. Moving on from there, Marceau. So Marceau meets up with his father, Mr. Mark Scott, at Black, and so we get to see the patriarch of the family. And the dad starts off by saying that he is so proud of his son and all the things that his son had accomplished, but then he warns his son that you need to make time for your life, make time for your family. You just can't be working 24/7. Marceau said something about like whenever he is working on his projects, he always thinks that the end is right around the corner. Like his break is coming right after this project, I'm going to take a break, or right after this is done, I'm going to take a break. And it just keeps on going and going and going, and he never gets to that point where he's able to take the break. So he's constantly working. So the dad says there's a big difference between being busy and being productive. And I guess what the dad was trying to say was that you can still be productive and make money as long while you are still making time for yourself and your family. And then there's just being busy, working, and not really, being that productive. So I always thought that people who want to work a lot, who have the ability to take a little bit of time off, for example, like if you're a single parent and you have to hold down 2 or 3 jobs, you really have no choice, right? But if you are at a certain income level and you are an entrepreneur and you work for yourself, but you're choosing to constantly work, even though you have the ability to take a little bit of time off and you choose not to take that time off, I always feel like those type of people are really trying to avoid something at home. That's why they just kind of throw themselves in their work. So the father tells him, you need to take the time to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You're working so hard, but you need to enjoy this money that you're making. Marceau says that he has to keep working because he wants to create this generational wealth, this wealth that is going to be around not just for his children, but his children's children and so on. Moving on from there, Tisha, she meets up with Kimmy, And this is where Tisha tells Kimmy that Marceau has taken on a new business partner. And this particular business partner, I think they call him Gino. He actually took over Tisha's office space. Now, we all are familiar with the office space, how it's set up at Tisha and Marceau's company. And, we have seen many episodes of where Tisha sits at her desk and her computer, etc. So she says that this new Gino guy, he took up her damn office space. And I'm like, how does that happen? How does a new person come in out of nowhere and sits in your desk in front of your computer? And she also talks about how he's put up his own degree on the wall. How does this happen with her not even knowing, or her not even knowing, or like, that just blew me away. And she also mentions that Gino has put up his own college degree on the wall, where Marceau had never allowed her. He never allowed her to put up her degrees on the wall. And I'm thinking, first of all, why wouldn't Marceau want Tisha to put up her degrees on the wall? And number two, why would Tisha even listen to that? If you're the owner of the company and you want to put up your degree on your wall, girl, then just do it. I mean, who cares what Marceau says? That didn't make any sense to me. I'm assuming Marceau also has a college degree. I don't know. I'm assuming that he does. So it's not like he's jealous of his wife having an education. So why wouldn't you let your wife put up her degree? And Tisha, why are you listening to him? So Tisha knew that Gino was going to come on as a partner, but she did not know that he was coming on as a partner of Skolt. And once again, like, how do you not know that? How does Marceau feel comfortable enough to not tell his wife, who is the owner of the company, that they're going to be taking on a partner to the company that she owns? Like, how does this happen? Are there not documents that need to be signed? If he's like an official partner, don't you have to sign like some type of an agreement? And doesn't she have to be aware of this agreement? And doesn't she also have to sign off on this? Like, I don't understand how Marceau is getting away with all this stuff behind Tisha's back. So then they talk about how Tisha's going to, okay, so her and Kimmy are having a conversation on how Tisha is going to approach her own husband about this whole Gino thing. And I'm thinking to myself, first of all, Tisha and Marceau love to brag about how they've been married the longest on this show. They have the most years of marriage than anybody else, that they know each other so well. And their marriage is just absolutely perfect. So Tisha, why do you have a problem speaking to your husband about something that's bothering you? Why do you have to go to your sister-in-law to get advice on how to talk to your own husband? You know him better than anybody else on this damn show. So why do you need advice from a third party on how to speak to Marceau? And I'm wondering if it's because she knows that Marceau is going to do the Jedi mind trick on her. He's going to start doing his double talk, and she's going to get confused and bewildered. And so she needs advice on how to stay focused. But you've been married to this man so long, you know him so well, you should already know how to deal with him. But anyways, so Kimmy gives her some advice on how to talk to her husband, whatever. So then Kimmy gets a call from Melody, and Melody is inviting her like for a massage or something. And so while she's talking to Melody on the phone, Tisha says, "Oh, can I speak to Mel?" And so Kimmy reluctantly gives her the phone because she doesn't know where this is going. She reluctantly gives her the phone, and Tisha is asking Melody if she's inviting Melody to her spa day. And, Melody kind of paused, like, she was expecting some type of I don't know if she thought it was like a practical joke or something, but there was a pause. And then Melody ended up agreeing to come to the spa day. Okay, fine. Moving on from there, Marceau and Tisha. So they're having dinner with their kids, and they're all sitting around the table. Those children, okay, Tisha and Marceau's children are the spitting image of Marceau. Every single last one of them. All three of them look just like Marceau. There is not a hint of Tisha in any of her kids. Her kids all take after them, especially their son. I think they call him MJ. He looks just like, and then when he turned his head and we saw his profile, oh my God, he looks just like his father. So they're all sitting there having dinner, and Marceau made some type of a crack about, isn't it great to have mommy cooking again or something like that? I guess, trying to imply that it's been a long time since Tisha has cooked for the family. And even their son was like, how can you talk like that to your spouse? And that's really something when your children are calling you out on how you mistreat their mother. But he was like, yeah, how can you talk like that to your son? I mean, to your spouse. So after the kids leave the table, now Tisha has this opportunity to talk to her husband one-on-one about this whole Gino situation. And so she brings up how he hired Gino as a partner to Scolt without even telling her that he was going to be a partner to Scolt. And Marceau tells her, well, as the owner of the company, you don't need to be bothered with the mundane day-to-day business details. I handle that. I'm the company president, so I'm the one that handles all of that. And you just, you worry your pretty little head on the bigger things. You keep your eyes focused on the bigger things, not this, this small everyday stuff. And he's like, then he says to her, he gives her this example of like this, he gives like a football example, like the owner of some NFL football team, he doesn't make the decisions on who's going to be playing what position on the team. Your coaches do that, or whatever stupid example he gave. Okay, but that's a big organization with thousands of people working for them. I mean, obviously the Waltons, the owner of Walmart or whoever the hell owns Walmart now, they're not going to be making the decisions of who they're going to hire as a cashier in some podunk county in Arkansas or something. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But these are huge corporations where the people at the top, they don't have the ability to worry about the everyday stuff that goes on in each individual store. Scolt has two people, Letitia and Marceau. As far as we can tell, I don't even know if they have a secretary. It has two damn people. Yes, Letitia needs to be informed, and you do need to let her know of whatever decisions you're making on a day-to-day basis. She needs to know about everything going on. It's only the two of y'all. Marceau, what are you talking about? She needs to know about who you're hiring, who you're firing. She needs to know, the business accounts. She needs to know if you bought dinner using company money. She needs to know all of that stuff. The little, the big, the medium. She needs to know all of that. What are you talking about, Marceau? And Letitia is just looking at him while he's saying this. She's not really speaking up for herself and saying, first of all, Scolt isn't like a thousand. We don't have thousands of people working for us. Okay. Yeah. I need to know the day to day going on of Scolt because I am the owner and I am making an executive decision as the owner to know every little thing that goes on with Scolt. So then, so he's doing his double speak. He's trying to confuse her. And then Tisha says that she did know that Gina was going to be moving into her office space. And Marceau says, oh, is that how it happened? That he just came over and took over your office space. I think he was trying to imply that somehow or another she had the heads up that Gina was going to take over her space. And Tisha says, well, that's how I felt. It may not be how it happened, but that's how I felt. Like this guy was just coming in, taking over her office space. And Marceau says, but is that what happened? And then he tells her, well, when you have that space, it wasn't like there was a lot of commerce going on. In other words, he was like, you weren't doing nothing when you were sitting there. So what's the point? Why are you so concerned about that space? I'm going to put someone there who's actually going to produce because not much was happening when you were there. And I'm like, oh my God. This man has absolutely zero respect for his wife as the owner of the business and as a business partner. He has very little respect for her. He still wants her to be, because remember, back in the day, Marceau was not happy about Tisha going back, getting her licenses, going back to school, furthering her education. I think she was working on her master's or something. He was not happy about that. He wanted her home, barefoot and pregnant, cooking and cleaning, taking care of the kids. And even though she's the owner of Skull, and I really want to know how that happened, because he was so against her working outside the home, but somehow he just agreed for her to be the owner of Skolt. I guess he probably wanted her to be the owner of Skolt so that he could see her fail. So he could be like, I told you, running a business was going to be hard. But I guess she succeeded in running the business because they claim that they're making millions of dollars. Their company's bringing in millions of dollars in profits. So I guess they're doing well with her being the owner. But I guess he has no respect for her, because he actually sat there and said to this woman to her damn face, well, when you were sitting there, nothing was going on. So like, what's the problem? I'm going to put someone there that can actually produce. Anywho, so Tisha says, she goes on and on about how her space was taken from her without her knowing. And so I'm just like, I'm repeating myself. So I was just shocked that he would say that to his wife. I was absolutely shocked. And Tisha just sat there and just took it. She shouldn't even say anything. I don't know what advice Kimmy gave her about how to approach Marcel and how to talk to him, but it's like, I mean, he won that argument. He said what he had to say. He gave his stupid examples that had nothing to do with anything with Skolt. And she just sat there looking at him like a dum-dum. Moving on from there. So now we're at Tisha's spa day. So Tisha's really worried about the dynamic between Kiki and Tiffany. Okay. So a few days before, Tiffany had told Tisha that it really bothered her how Kiki threw Tisha under the bus at Melody's Christmas party and at the reunion, because it seemed like Kiki was showing more loyalty to Melody than she was to her own blood cousin Kiki. So I'm thinking to myself, first of all, Tiffany, why are you so worried about this? Why do you care? And the reason why she claims that she cares about this so much is because she says, if Kiki can do this to her own cousin, then she can do this to me. Okay, but what do you have to do with Kiki? You and Kiki are not even friends. You don't even exist in Kiki's world. So what do you have to do with Kiki? Why are you worried about how Kiki's going to treat you in the future? How is she treating you now besides ignoring you? So all the girls eventually show up. Mel doesn't show up just yet. And Tiffany starts on Tisha by cracking jokes about her damn puppets from the reunion. She brought out those damn puppets of Melody and Kiki and whatever little puppet show she put on at the reunion. And so Tiffany had said, well, when you act like a kid, you get puppets. And this really rubbed Tisha the wrong way. And she threatened to kick Tiffany out of the spa. She was like, I'm about to throw you out. But trust and believe, Tiffany stepped into line after that. So then Mel finally shows up last. And so then Tiffany is having a conversation with Melody about Kiki. They're relaxing in some room because the women were divided up. So we have Melody and Tiffany and I think Stormy together. So they're relaxing in some room and Tiffany wants to talk about Kiki. And she wants to talk about how Kiki did Tisha so wrong. And Melody's not taking the bait, which I was so proud of her. She did not take the bait. Melody just responded with, oh, isn't this so relaxing? This room is just so relaxing. And then Tiffany tried again. She tried a couple of times to bring up the conversation about Kiki and how wrong she was and the things that she did to her own cousin. Melody never took the bait, and Tiffany was basically having a conversation by her damn self. So in the other room, we have Kiki, Tisha, and Kimmy, and they're having a conversation. And Kiki said that she had a bone to pick with Kimmy. She says that Kimmy made the problem between her and Tisha even worse, not better, when Kimmy told Letitia what was said at Melody's Christmas party. And so Kiki was like, basically saying that, Kimmy had no right and she had no business running to Tisha and telling Letitia what Kiki had said about her marriage at Melody's Christmas party. And so Kimmy, in her defense, says, well, it wasn't just me that ran to Letitia. It was everybody that was there that heard you. They were all of the same mind that you were talking bad about your cousin's marriage. And so then Kimmy asks her, so everybody is wrong because, Kiki absolutely denies saying anything really bad about Letitia's marriage to Marceau. I mean, she thinks that she admits that she said something, but it wasn't the way these women portrayed it to Letitia. So then Kimmy says to her, so everybody at that party was wrong except you. And Kiki was like, yes, everybody exaggerated the situation. So Kimmy says something about Stormy, how Stormy also had a lot to say. And the clip that they showed from the Christmas party was when Stormy was saying that maybe Marceau was deflecting from his own cheating ways by throwing his brother under the bus and talking about his brother possibly cheating on Kimmy. And so they have a conversation about that situation. And so in the other room, Stormy heard her name. So Melody, Tiffany, and Stormy, they get up and they join the other ladies because Stormy wanted to know why is her name being mentioned. So when they all get together, all the women are together in one room. So Kiki has to, she wants to address Tiffany first. And so Tiffany, she stood 10 toes down, stating that it had rubbed her the wrong way and how Kiki defended her friendship with Melody more than she defended her relationship with Letitia. And so, that's so that whole thing starts. First of all, okay, so this whole thing is centered around what happened at Melody's Christmas party and the women going to Letitia and telling Letitia how Kiki was talking really bad about her marriage. And, this is on the cusp of Kiki and Letitia trying to reconcile. So I don't even know why Kiki would bring this up. I think it was Kiki that brought it up. Why we're even she did bring it up when she was addressing Kimmy and thinking that she was going to get Kimmy all together. Like, why did you go to my cousin and tell her that I was saying all these things about her marriage when I really wasn't saying all that stuff? First of all, why are we even talking about something that happened last season? That's number one. Why are we bringing that into this season? We have nothing else going on other than Melody's Christmas party from last season. Number two, it doesn't matter what anybody said to Letitia about what Kiki said. It doesn't even matter. You know why? Because it's all on tape. It was recorded. There was an entire camera crew there recording the whole event. Tisha just has to look at the damn footage and make up her mind on whether or not her cousin threw her under the bus, which she did. She watched it the same way that we watched it, and she felt like her cousin threw her under the bus. She came to the conclusion that Kiki talking about her damn marriage to these women who don't like her was wrong. She didn't like it, and she confronted her cousin about it. And that's how they ended up, having this tension between them. And that's how we ended up watching Letitia bring out the damn puppets, imitating how Melody has so much mind control over Kiki. Because Tisha's theory is that Melody was just using Kiki to attack her marriage. Okay, so she did whatever she did to get Kiki on her side and to convince her and manipulate her into talking crap about Marceau and Tisha's marriage. So obviously Letitia saw the footage. She saw what was said. There's no need for Kiki to be like, oh, y'all exaggerated. Y'all were trying to put 20 on 10. Y'all did too much. I wasn't saying all that. You came into that party. You listened to me. I do agree with Letitia that Melody was using Kiki to attack her marriage, because Melody's whole point has been, it is not just my damn husband. Y'all are stupid to think that y'all's husbands are any better than mine. Mine was just dumb enough to get caught. I think that's been Melody's point from the beginning. It's like, y'all keep talking about my marriage, my husband, what's going on in my home, but y'all have skeletons in y'all's closet too. I think that was her issue. And those women, well, really Letitia, I don't think it was Kimmy, but Letitia always wanted to make it seem as if her marriage was better than Melody's marriage. I'm going way off point here, but Letitia always wanted to make it seem that her marriage was better and stronger than Melody's marriage. And when Melody's marriage was falling apart, Letitia and her mom were constantly throwing jabs at Melody and her marriage, making her feel even, she's already going through a really tough time, and they're trying to make her feel even worse about it. And so that's when Melody had to fight back and put them in their damn place and talk about how, look, you might be talking about my man, but you ain't no damn better. And then it came down to, well, where's the proof that Marceau's cheating on me? Okay, fine, girl, whatever. Back to the present time. Why is Kiki bringing this up? She felt so bad and probably felt so stupid for being manipulated by Melody. So now she's trying to get into Tisha's good graces because, Melody used Kiki for where she needed to use her for. And now she's done with her. And so Kiki probably feels like a used, snot rag. Okay, she just used me, blew her nose on me, and threw me away. Now she feels absolutely used and abused by Melody. So she's trying to run and try to make it good with Tisha once again. But you should never, ever has said anything about your cousin's marriage. Now, Kiki had her own bone to pick with Letitia about something that happened, I don't know, however many years ago. Letitia talking about her drug addiction, her pill addiction to Melody, or whatever the hell was going on way back then, before. I don't care because it wasn't on camera, so I don't care. So it's just a big mess. Kiki, let's move on to something new. Let's move on to something a little bit more current. We are over Melody's Christmas party. We all saw what you did. What you did was wrong. You came to that party to throw your cousin's marriage under the bus. That is exactly what you did. Okay, because everybody felt like, well, if this is coming from her own family member, that because she was saying a lot without saying a lot. Because it wasn't like she came out and, I don't even think she just came out and said, oh, Marceau's cheating and this is the girl he's cheating with. This is what he's been doing. It was just hinting at, when people asked her the question, so is Marceau being unfaithful? She was like, she really wasn't trying to give an answer, but she was giving an answer. And so you came in there because you knew that it was going to be more believable coming from you than it would be coming from Melody, because Melody and Tisha are enemies. But if it came from her own blood cousin who looks like her own sister, because nobody can deny the genetics in that damn family, when it's coming from her own cousin who looks like her sister, is talking about her marriage and how Marceau's been doing X, Y, and Z, it was going to be more believable. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. All I'm saying is this: I don't even give a damn. I don't care. I've always believed that these three musketeers, Marceau, Martel, and Maurice, I've always believed that they were being unfaithful. At some point, they have been unfaithful to their wives. Some of them are probably continuing to be unfaithful. Some of them have been unfaithful in the past. I totally believe that. But can we just stick with the topic at hand? I'd rather talk about the business side of the show, like when they're talking about developing neighborhoods. And I'm interested when Marceau talks about how he's getting projects to build hotels and warehouses and all this other stuff. That's the stuff that interests me. I'm interested in Skolt. I'm interested in how they're trying to rebuild certain areas of Huntsville. That's interesting to me. I don't care about Mel's Christmas party. I've already made up my mind about whether or not these men are unfaithful. So that's neither here nor there with me. Okay, you can give us a little bit of drama, a little bit of tea, but I'm more interested in how they're conducting business, how they are as business people. That's what I'm interested in. Marceau, do you plan on passing your, to get his builder's license? Is that still on the table, or did you give that up because you failed so many damn times? I don't care about Sheree. I don't believe about the relationship between Martel and Sheree. I think it's fake and phony, so I really don't care about that. I do believe that Martel wants to get back with Mel, and I think that Mel probably would consider getting back with him if it wasn't for the fact that he had this child on the outside. She probably would have considered going back to Martel. That's fine. They got kids together. So, and I know how it is with, married people. It's up and down. One minute you hate each other, next minute you want to reconcile. I get it. But if we're going to put the drama in there, fine. Okay, I can take it. But I wish this show would concentrate more on their businesses, but it doesn't. That's just how it is. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to my rant. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please do not forget to rate the video. If you like this content, please go ahead and subscribe, and I will most definitely talk to you later. Bye.